In this video, we'll be making oat bread, and I call this experiment 101 because this is the first time I'm going to try it. So I saw it online and decided to try it because I'm tired of taking oats the normal way we usually take. So I feel this is a nice way to try. And of course, what will I do with light over the weekend? So this is me activating yeast. I use 30 grams of yeast. From where I got the idea from, the person used 110 grams of yeast, but I thought that was much. I decided to start it gradually. So what I'm just adding now is sugar to help the yeast grow. Why I do it this way instead is to be sure that the yeast are alive, because I bought it for months now. I mean, it's been in the house for months now, and I wanted to be sure it's working before I waste the whole batch of yeast. So it's always important because it's the sugar that the yeast feeds on to grow or to be activated. So that's sugar. So I first added 5 grams of sugar, and the water I'm adding is the water I'm going to use for the total batch of the production. That was like 500 grams of water, and is warm water. And this is the oat. I milled it to powdered form before. If your blender can't blend dry, you can just add the water and blend it and make it wet milling. So this is me mixing it. God. So I should have used a mixer. If you have a mixer, you can use it, but it's too tiring to start washing. You have to sterilize it and then wash it afterwards for just small batch of experiments. So I felt there was no need to go that far. So I decided to use fork. In fact, I didn't even know what to use. So this is me mixing it, trying to make sure that it is homogeneously mixed with other ingredients. So apart from that, what am I going to add again? So I added water gradually to ensure that it is not too watery. Like I said, this is the first time, so I needed to be sure. Don't mind the fish leveling on that container. It's because I used it to store fish. So my kitchen has a lot of things, so I need to be leveling things to be sure. If not, I'll end up forgetting. So this is chia seed and sesame seed. I actually bought this seed for weight loss. I wanted to add it with flaxseed to take for weight loss purpose, that. But I later realized that it was a mistake to mix them together, because sesame seed is supposed to be baked to, for snacks or something. So I decided to pause. So I think the best way to use it now is for incorporating it in something like this to bake. And trust me, let's see how it's gonna work. So fast forward to, okay, you can see that even the chia seed is beginning to absorb the water in that oat. Okay, I think that's a mistake I made. Because of the chia seed, I was supposed to add extra amount of water, because right now the chia seed is going to absorb the water and be dragging the softness with the oat. What I I was checking the plate to be sure that the water is still warm. If the water is warm, it will make the yeast work faster compared to room temperature water. So you can see it's a bit, how would I call it? But anyways, that was me done mixing it. So the next thing now is to transfer it to baking pan. This baking pan, I bought it since lockdown period. Don't mind me. My foil finished. I just had to manage to patch it up. I didn't want to pour it directly into the baking pan so it will not stick around, because it's not stainless. So you can see that the volume of the oat or the batter has increased due to the yeast. This shows that the yeast is active. And Maybe I'm not supposed to mix it again. I took this to be a knockback process in bread making. I don't think this was necessary, but I did anyways. I even forgot to add oil. Next time I'll try and use butter, but although I'm afraid of high calorie, so I had to mix it again because of the oil, because I forgot to add oil. And we know that oil is very important in snacks, in baked products, because it makes it feel soft apart from the water. Just like if you're eating bread with good amount of butter, it will draw, it will be thick and all that. So that's why I had to add oil. Less for me, maybe I would have skipped it, but it's very important. So that was it. So the next thing I'm gonna do, what did I not add? Another mistake I made is that I added the amount of sugar I added was tested each time to be sure. In the video, I got the idea from, I forgot the amount of sugar, but it was quite much. But I didn't want it to be too sweet because I'm conscious of my weight, so I decided to use 20 grams together. So that was it. I expected it to be much. It's not even economical compared to flour. Maybe, right? So, So this, I have these dried fruits, or I had this dried fruit in the fridge for a while and I didn't know what to use it for. I don't like eating it raw. I prefer using it in baked products like this. So I'm washing it because since it was in the fridge and it was open, the sachet, over time it began to absorb moisture, and of course it was wet, so I had to wash it in case, just in case. As for the sesame seed, yeah, I just wanted to sprinkle it on top, but I had to wash it because I bought it from the market, dust and all that. I just had to wash it. Not that it's necessary, you can decide to just rub it with your hand and skip the washing part, but I felt like washing it, so that's why I wash it. So you can see, let's move on with the baking procedure. That's my oven. I've already preheated. So I initially baked it, I started baking it with 100 degrees Celsius, but when I saw that it was taking time and I was waiting for it to eat it, I had to increase it to 150 degrees Celsius. So when the top layer looked brown a bit, I decided to take it back to 100 degrees so that the inside will be properly done. Sometimes if the heat is too much, the upper part may be done and the inside may not. So another mistake next time, when I bake it, because I'm going to try it again with milk and egg, maybe just to see how it's going to come out. So next time I'm going to use a cover so that the top layer will not be as crispy as how I got it, but not that it was bad. It tasted nice. In fact, I used it for dinner that day and also breakfast. So this is the outcome. You can see that I was tasting it. If you look at the corner, I was tasting it already to be sure. So if you don't want it to look this crispy, but I love the crispiness on the surface, you can just use a cover. Yeah, maybe next time I'll cover it and see how it looks like. I didn't want it to come out as a soft bread, that it still give you that OT taste. It's not like flour. So I think it's not bad the way it is. But next time, like I said, I'll add egg, milk, and increase the quantity of the yeast to see if it be more than this. Thank you.